nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind. With a retirement plan that includes growth, protection, and income. So you can sleep well at night. Call Brian Gaiser of Gaiser Financial, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829.
Brian Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Brian Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and education services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal issues may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions relative to these issues.
We all have items to check off that bucket list as we get into retirement. Today, we turn the tables and share the retiree's unbucket list. We've got a list of things that you probably want to avoid in retirement. Stay tuned.
Achieving wealth in your retirement.
Get on the right road in the beginning now so that you don't make big mistakes down the road in retirement.
A better life in your retirement.
My parents made some costly mistakes, and I am passionate about helping people avoid those same mistakes.
Brian Gaiser can help you get there.
I want to be your accountability partner in retirement.
It's Wealth Through Wisdom Radio with your host, Brian Gaiser.
Welcome to Wealth Through Wisdom with Brian Gaiser. I'm Chuck Caton, along with the man who is Greensboro's own with the heart of a teacher, and he's the creator of the P4 retirement process, which is your financial compass. He is Brian Gaiser, and when we talk about undoing things, the unbucket list is what we're going to talk about, because around 10,000 baby boomers retire every day, as Brian Gaiser knows, and that number will even be higher here in 2024. So today, Brian and I are going to break down a list that you might want to avoid, and we're calling it, again, the unbucket list. I remember the Uncola 7-Up way back when Brian Gaiser was in swaddling clothes. You do remember that, though, don't you?
I even remember that, the Uncola 7-Up.
Well,
it's still not my favorite drink.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Put a little Crown in it, and you might like it a little bit better.
There you go. Maybe that was it. Back when I was a kid, I couldn't do that.
All right, when we talk about the unbucket list here, we've got a number of things to go through here before we get to the bottom line. And one of the things is working longer than necessary. Let's talk about that and the various factors that you may not be aware of if you want to just keep working and slaving away, even though you may not have to.
Yeah, it just depends. It really boils down to this. When it comes working longer than necessary, you feel you won't have enough money and you feel you're going to run out of money. So really, what are you saying? You're saying, I don't think my income sources, along with my nest egg, is going to get me there, is going to get me through retirement 20 or 30 years. And you might have a point, because 2024, folks, I'm telling you, you're listening today, because we offer a complimentary retirement plan. I'm telling you, it's going to be built around what 24 is probably going to deliver to us. And that's going to be a black swan. And what it really boils down to, the people that are going to survive it are the ones that get income right, not investments only right, but really income right. Because if you have strong income in retirement, if you have surplus income in retirement, you can continue to invest in yourself. Because I see a recession on the way, layoffs are already happening. People think, well, good, long as things start to happen with a recession, they're going to charge less. They're not going to charge less for goods, because they're cranking up all of the minimum wages and things of that nature, and just everything gets driven up from there. And I'm telling you, prices are going to continue to go up, but recession looms, layoff, but you know what's not going to go up is your wages. So working longer might be necessary, or you got to get income right. If you have income needs of $6,000 a month and you have $10,000 a month coming in, you have a $4,000 surplus. You will probably be fine through what's probably going to happen over the next year to 2 years, especially when 25 hits and the tax decreases go back to an increased tax, right? So taxes are going to go up in 25. You can almost bet yourself that. Prices are going to continue to go up, but I'm going to tell you right now, wages are not.
Okay, let's talk about coping with loneliness, too, because there's an emotional aspect on this Unbucket list.
You know, coping with loneliness is a big thing. We're getting off the financial aspect like we just talked about and saying that working longer, you better consider it or have your incomes in order. But really what it boils down with coping with loneliness, many individuals underestimate the void created by retirement. I mean, they do. I see this on a regular basis. I see people that get laid off in their early 50s. In a month or two, they're bouncing off the walls, can't wait to get back to work thinking, I'm going to decompress. And it is a good idea to decompress. But look at it from that standpoint. It's all about decompressing. Make sure you set many milestones for yourself in retirement, but you only should have one goal, and that goal is to feel happiness every day, feel that void when things aren't going quite your way. So water cooler conversations and team meetings, may have been more impactful than initially recognized because it felt good. You had that camaraderie. You've lost that camaraderie. You've got that big void and you've got to fill it. And so I recommend filling it. Chuck and I say live off the type of income that you need. Not only that, live off of the type of socialization you need just before you retire. Take a good year or two and think about what am I going to do to replace those water cooler moments?
Yeah. How about building a fulfilling retirement and also little different paths to retirement as well and fulfilling your dreams because retirement can be very, as you say, an adjustment-filled proposition.
It really is. Create a fulfilling retirement is essential to surround oneself with supportive network. So that's going to be huge. Get involved with your church. Get involved with different things. Get involved with golf. Chuck did. Things of that nature. So diverse paths, when we're talking about diverse paths, what we're talking about, pursue hobbies. Start a new business venture. Maybe help your son or your daughter start a new business. Maybe you go to work for their business and enhance it and help them get over that hump. Get out there. You got to have that feeling of usefulness or the depression will set in.
Okay, we're talking about things that you should avoid feeling as you approach retirement and going in there. And sometimes your fear often prompts a kind of a just-in-case retirement strategy, and that's never good. You should pre-plan it a little bit better than that.
You really should. You got just in case. There's going to be just in case. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a rainy day bucket. We're talking about, oh my gosh, I had a client that was diagnosed with cancer. They're going to beat that cancer. Thank you, God. And the bottom line is that really just redirected what was important to them in retirement right out the gate because there was probably a 50-50 chance that it wasn't going to be good. So you've got to look at your, the potential. Hey, what pitfalls are in front of us? What could possibly happen just in case XYZ happens? And you've really got to think about those things from a standpoint that it's not just going to smooth sail and go right into retirement and everything work out just as planned. That's why you got to stay fluid and flexible.
And you also have to prioritize being energetic and keeping your health up as well.
Yeah, you've got to keep your health up. And a lot of people's health isn't that good when they come see me. So if your health isn't that good, or if you're just not taking care of yourself, you really need to, if you haven't quit smoking, well, 65 is a good time to quit smoking. Or if you haven't, slowed the eating habits or change your eating habits. Diets aren't the best thing in the world. It's how you eat on a daily basis that will help you lose weight. Things of that nature. I love health, so I'm big into this type of thing. But the bottom line is you want energy. And, those healthiness just does so much more for the mind than it does for the body even. So make sure that you are, keeping your doctor's appointments, make sure and I'm talking about regular exams. What can I do to improve my health? Things of that nature.
All right. We're talking about your unbucket list as you approach retirement. So don't let the market rule your budget, right? Don't let that, and also be aware of sequence of returns risk.
Yeah. I mean, the market, if you have too much in the market, think about it. We have 7 or 8, and then in a 30-year period, we have 7 or 8 bear markets. And under those same terms, you got to think about it. And this is what I'm worried about happening in 24. That's why you need us to put together a complementary plan for you. And I'm not kidding, is that 10 years of stagnation is a high probability. We're going to have high prices and inflation all at the same time. So we're going to have our inflation and we're going to have stagnation when it comes to wages are going to be down. We're not going to make enough. Stagflation basically is I'm not making enough to cover what I need to cover to have a successful retirement or to have a successful life period. We're about to run into some years that's going to be a whole lot different than just a down market.
All right, consider in your unbucket list the impact of inadequate estate planning. You better be prepared for estate planning as well, because we're not going to be here forever, but we want to make things kind of comfortable, I would hope, in most cases, for our generations to come and our loved ones.
You know, if this overwhelms you, and a lot of people it does overwhelm, well, what am I going to give Betsy, and what am I going to give Mary, and what am I going to give Johnny? Don't worry about it like that. Just go out, get a simple will done, a third to each one of them. Just put it that way and let them divide the assets up. But just have something. Otherwise, the government decides how that's divided. Plus, it could give your spouse, if you die intestate, a lot of issues. So just get your will, power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, pretty simple documents to put together. Make it a point. Next 30 days, I'm going to have a simple will. I'm going to have a healthcare power of attorney and a power of attorney, very critical documents in the event of bad health or if you pass away.
All right, and here's the big one, and we've talked about this from time to time, and we're going to link these two. One of your unbucket list things to avoid is supporting capable children, keeping them in your basement without paying rent, or even kind of balancing whatever support you do want to legitimately give them.
You know, the best support you can give them is every day they release you by 1%. 1%. If you overwhelm them, hey, you're on your own, sink or swim, I think they always end up sinking, and then you just can't handle it, and you're going to pluck them back out again. My suggestion to you is little by little, just keep cutting them off. Okay, I did pay for your cell phone. Now I'm not. I did pay your car insurance. Now I won't. I do babysit your kids. Well, you're going to start paying me in the near future, so you better get your financial situation straight. If you're living in too expensive of a home, you might need to sell it. It's those kind of things. It's those little, small, hard realities. If you hit them all at once, I think that's not the best idea, especially if your habits have been, let me take care of everything in the past. So supporting capable children is not a gift to them. It's the worst possible thing you can do. But if you're in the middle of it, you can't just jump out of it. You got to kind of nickel and dime your way out of it and make them responsible for themselves and make them show you that they are putting in the effort before you do anything for them. And, you know, I got a client out there, they have a 31-year-old child. I say child, and I mean that still doesn't have a job from a year ago, that passes up on jobs that doesn't fit her needs. And I'm like, well, you know what? As long as you don't have a job, I can't help it. But if you have a job, I can help you a little bit. Yeah. And then I want you to continue to move. But that's the way, you know, that's the world we live in, Chuck.
Okay. So the bottom line here, Brian, I know you can help people who want to unbucket themselves.
Folks, it's all about a complimentary retirement plan. I'm telling you, 2024, this is built around 2024. We have folks in our office. We have a team that includes CFPs and CFAs that work with us on this plan. It's an opportunity, folks. No cost, no obligation. If you have a $250,000 in retirement fund, we'd be happy to sit down and put together a retirement plan. We'll run a risk analysis assessment. We'll also put together an income plan that does include with the thought and with the premise of, hey, put together a plan that exceeds my expenses so I can continue to invest in myself. Chuck, I'm telling them now, this year, I'm not kidding, is going to be a tough year. Early on, it's going to seem fine, but I think the black swan's coming somewhere late summer, early October. So you need to get in, set that appointment. I'm willing to give you my time. How about you giving me a little bit of your time? And I assure you, it's a complimentary plan, no cost, no obligation to you. Chuck, tell them how.
All right, it's 888-959-1641. No cost, no obligation to sit down, again, to get a better handle on your financial situation as you prepare for retirement with Brian Gaiser. He's got people standing by to take your information right now, and he'll get back to you as soon as the program concludes so you can set that appointment date. Remember, it's 888-959-1641. What's happening in the next segment, Brian?
Well, Chuck, coming up in the second segment, we all know marriage is a partnership. And you and I know that all too well. Our wives, it's a partnership. And never is it more important than when you get close to retirement. We've got some tips just ahead on today's show that will help you and strengthen that partnership.
How's the market doing?
It's fine.
How's the market doing now?
The same as it was 5 seconds ago.
Stop worrying about market volatility. A good retirement plan will keep you from panicking. Get that solid retirement plan with lifetime income and protection from retirement pitfalls. Call Brian Gaiser of Gaiser Financial, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829.
Well, through wisdom continuing with Brian Gaiser, I'm Chuck Caton, sitting in with the creator of the P4 retirement process. He is Greensboro's own. He's got the heart of a teacher, and you know what that P4 process is all about? Well, it's easy. Be proactive, plan, pursue, and prosper. And remember, every Sunday at 6 on ABC 45, you can see the Wealth Through Wisdom television program with the beautiful face of Brian Gaiser. All right, let's take a look at, for me, 48 and a half years and counting in terms of my partnership. But it really doesn't matter if you're a newlywed or approaching that golden anniversary as we are in 2025, where the taxes will go up and we will probably have to plan our own anniversary party because our kids will all be unemployed in that doomsday.
And there's where you laugh, but there's some seriousness there.
No, absolutely. So working toward retirement in either case, whether you're a newlywed or approaching that golden anniversary, is crucial. And so Brian's got some strategies here that can help you with this proposition. And I would say that if you're coming close to that golden anniversary, what have you been waiting for in your preparation? But it all starts with the plan. That's the hint. And that's what we always talk about here on Wealth Through Wisdom. So let's face it, you've got to make it, Brian, a team effort, don't you?
Yes, you do. You know, you just said it. Yours is going to be the golden for next year. Mine is silver this year. Mine's the silver this year.
Beautiful, beautiful.
September, 25 years. My wife and myself, we've been married. Melissa is her name.
Okay.
Have been married for 25 years, together 30. Folks, what's good about a strong marriage is that you work together, and it is a partnership. It truly is a partnership, and it actually gets a whole lot tighter as you get older. I think I love my wife more today than I ever have, and I always love her very much too. But the point is that love has grown stronger mainly because of our partnership, and kind of like what Chuck and his wife have a perfect partnership. He knows when to get out of the house. I know when to get out of the house. All they got to do is give me that look, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
But, you got to make it a team effort. Although each spouse is ultimately responsible for his or her own retirement, it makes sense to save for retirement together, to understand that you're both on the same page. Can you imagine if a quarterback and a wide receiver weren't on the same page, like yesterday with the Dallas Cowboys, or here just recently with the Dallas Cowboys? It wasn't yesterday, but a few days back when the Dallas Cowboys just got washed out. Somebody wasn't on the same page. That's where partnership is very critical, or you can have a result like they had. And the bottom line is you got to position yourself with mutual goals, but you also got to be yourself and your own individual self and respect that and support that with one another.
Absolutely true. And I've been to Dallas many, many times. I have a good friend that lives in Highland Park, about a block away from Jerry Jones, and I would not want to be married to him in any stretch of the imagination. So,
me either.
there you have it. He's got walls around his property. He's got a beautiful place.
You mean he has
gorgeous.
Walls?
Yeah,
do they work?
Yes, they do. They keep people in his case, because they don't want to be with him. Anyway, the big thing when you have a partnership, though, and you're absolutely right about this, you've got to be on the same page with your retirement goals as well. And that means from spending money or anything. In fact, if you can amplify on this, because your retirement goals have to be the same, no matter if you've been married 2 years or 30 years or 25 years, as in your case.
You know, if I look at it, aligning your retirement goals is critical, and a way to do that, I feel when I meet with couples, which I meet, probably 75% of my business or 80% of it is the folks that come in, my clients. I call them my client partners, because that's just what we are. My goal is to help balance things out, I'm that third opinion for the two of them, and it helps instead of them, where they might be bickering over something, we're able to resolve it. Not that I'm a psychiatrist or anything, but we're able to resolve it with, either an alternative way of getting something done, or, hey, this would be better. But it really is about mutual goals. I think the one mutual goal everybody ought to have is to be happy on a regular basis, right? You're already happy. There's a great book out that I've just started reading, and I'll mention the name of it towards the end of the end of this show, but the bottom line is its whole thing is that happiness, it's about finding gain in no matter what happens. If things don't work out for you, still find a gain in it, no matter what it is. And I think with couples, they need to start thinking like that, because you're not always going to think on the same page. And as long as you approach your relationship from that standpoint, most likely, okay, we're not thinking on the same page, but how can we find, an acceptable position on whatever it is that we're bickering about, and make sure that your goal, hey, I want to go to Hawaii. Well, I want to go to Europe. Well, how do we go to Hawaii and Europe? Those kinds of things.
Yes, you need an airplane that'll go in two different directions at once, and that's impossible. Yeah. Tell your spouse that. Okay.
Two different you plan both trips and flip a coin on which one you're going on first.
Yeah, there you go. We're talking with Brian Gaiser, and we're talking about some of the wise things you could do here on Wealth Through Wisdom with Brian Gaiser. If you got a partnership with your spouse, that retirement goal has to be coordinated in kind. All right. Sometimes, and I know this for present company, it probably includes our host, planning for a younger spouse if there is an age gap. There's an age gap between me and my wife. She's 6 months older. I don't mind telling you, but that's not the kind of gap we're talking about, right, Brian?
No, we're not talking about that. There's a significant, there's reasonable, I'm almost 7 years difference between myself and my wife, and she's about 7 years younger than me. I think it's almost 6.5, actually. And my parents had the exact same gap between their age. But the bottom line is, if there's a significant age gap between the spouses, it's key that you build your collective retirement plan savings target. What I've done for somebody just recently with a pretty good age gap between them, and it's a newly folks that came on board that are now a client partner with us, and they have a pretty, not extreme, a little less than mine. But what we did is we've thought it through from a Social Security standpoint, when to take Social Security. We're pushing his out a little further. We're also saying, well, what if something happens to one of the two of you? Well, we have a replacement personal pension that we've created. So if something happens to one of the two of them, you're able to replace that other Social Security. That one would be left vacant. Same thing I've done with my spouse. So it's really, when it comes to, when you have that significant age gap, you got to just take in consideration, what are the pitfalls of that, and how do we fill those gaps? And that's really what it's all about.
It's interesting because you talk about that 6.5 year gap. There are a lot of people, if you have lived in Hollywood or something with some of these marriages, there's a 20 to 25 year age gap, and then it becomes more a complicated situation. But all right.
A little simpler for them.
Yeah, I would think so.
Millions of dollars. Yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so. If they stay married long enough, and then you got the alimony and all that stuff, or dividing the estate and all that stuff. But
ask Kelsey Grammer, right?
Exactly. Now, when you look at most couples today, both work. I mean, both members of a couple, of a family, the husband and wife both work. So when you're approaching retirement, maybe you say to yourself, whether there's an age gap or not, you've got to make a determination of who's going to retire first, how are we going to do this? And I think that's very important. And you've probably seen that with some of your clients too, where both people work. And then all of a sudden, maybe somebody's 63, somebody's 57, or maybe somebody's 70 and still working, and the spouse is 62 or 63. Who's going to take retirement first? When are you going to take Social Security? All these types of things, right? Staggering that retirement plan.
Well, look at you. You're still working and you're 6 months young. So you're a good example. But no, honestly, it really is staggering that retirement. To me, I mean, I'm like you. I'm probably just don't see myself retiring. I really enjoy what I do. I love building the staff. We're adding a couple of advisors here recently, and we're going through those processes. I enjoy it, maybe to get a little more time for myself, but also to help someone build a career in this industry as well, because it is an enjoyable thing to help folks. And one of the big things that we see is a gap in when they retire. And the other one, I think it's a good thing because, one, you won't get on each other's nerves as quickly, and you won't have some of the issues we just talked about in the previous segment, but you'll have solutions beforehand. In other words, if one just leaves and you still got that other income, it also still gives you a level of confidence. Well, we're fine. He's still working. I'm not, but the income that I receive from my pension is more than paying our regular bills. We've got all our debts paid off. It's really all about that. It's about being, once again, staggering retirement. It's just part of being on the same page as a couple. It's all about that partnership. And a staggered retirement's great. Heck, my wife hasn't worked since 2009, and things work out really well. And I can just tell when she gives me that look, I leave the house and get on back to work or go somewhere else. And it's, finding that common ground and understanding that you're not always going to agree. So how do we get to a compromise? And I think that's critical in a relationship.
And of course, as we wrap this segment up very quickly, how to maximize Social Security benefits. Again, both people work, both people have certain Social Security. Who's going to take it when? That's always a consideration and a decision that has to be made.
It does. It should have. You should, like 2-3 years before you even take Social Security, you should have a pretty strong idea when you're going to take it. Things change. I just recently, one of my clients, she had a situation where they gave her a package to, lay her off early. She took the package instead of working because she's really close to that when she wanted to retire anyways. She's 65, so that already covers her health insurance. But there were some bumps in there that we had to work out when we're going to take Social Security, how we're going to supplement now to when we were going to take Social Security. And so we were able to put together a plan. If you have a good idea when you want to take Social Security, plan on that. But stay flexible and understand that can change. So it's really critical right now that you get your income straight. And big part of getting your income straight is figuring out your Social Security and making sure you maximize Social Security, because it's just gap coverage between the nest egg that is paying you plus that Social Security. And it's really critical. But folks, what helps you do that is that we put together a good retirement plan, a complementary plan that is well thought out, that has a team putting this plan together to try to think of all the ins and outs and things that we just talked about in this segment, things that it takes a partnership to work a retirement plan. It's all complementary. We're going to give you our valuable time at no cost, no obligation. And what I mean by that is you don't have to become a client to have us put together this plan. It's going to include your income. It's going to include looking at your risk assessment and make sure that you're within your risk assessment. I can't tell you how many times people come in there and they're taking 2-3 times the risk that they thought they were. Folks, you got to be careful. 24 is going to be scary. We've got some things that we have put together that will help you through 24, and especially a potential black swan event, because I'm telling you, things are happening rapidly right now, and you better be on your game. Chuck, tell them how.
All right, it's 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641 to get a no-cost, no-obligation appointment made. He's got people standing by, Brian does, to take your information so that you can make that appointment a very easy one. And it's all about wealth through wisdom, and it's all about Brian guiding you by translating the complex financial world into clear instructions about putting together a retirement plan for you. Once again, it's 888-959-1641. That's how you reach Brian Gaiser, the creator of the P4 retirement process. We need a break. What's coming up next, Brian?
Chuck, on today's show, I think it's really important in this third segment, what we're going to talk about. For many Americans, saving for retirement is not on the front burner, so to speak. It's that you've got some signs that you'll probably want to avoid and tips on how to be successful. Stay tuned.
At Gaiser Financial, we believe in better. A better way to invest, a better way to serve you, and a better result. Our P4 process begins with us listening. Take advantage of our complimentary retirement strategy session by calling Brian Gaiser, host of Better Living and president of Gaiser Financial, at 888-285-0829. That's 888-285-0829.
Wealth Through Wisdom with Brian Gaiser continuing. Chuck Caton here with the creator of the P4 retirement process. Remember to be proactive, to plan, to pursue, and to prosper. You see him on Sunday nights at 6 on ABC 45 in the Wealth Through Wisdom television show, and he is Brian Gaiser. I'm Chuck Caton. Brian's the creator of that P4 retirement process. That's your financial compass, and he's Greensboro's own with the heart of a teacher. And one of the things we're going to talk about in this segment now is about the different signs that you may want to avoid. We talked about unbucketing in the first segment. Now we're going to be talking about saving for retirement. May not have been a priority for you. Now, maybe you're about 7, 8, 10 years away from retirement. You better be thinking about it. Maybe it hasn't been a priority until you've listened to this program recently, maybe now. And chances are you still have time to turn things around. You always have to be optimistic about that, because where there's a will, there's a way. And in the style of comedian Jeff Foxworthy, we've put together a list of things that we call you might not be able to retire if. All right, you might not be able to retire if you spend too much money on haircuts or at Starbucks or something. But the good news is...
Do you spend too much money on haircuts, Chuck?
Absolutely. 50 cents is too much for me. So the good news is we've got solutions as well. Brian's got them to get you on a better path. So, again, you may not be able to retire if you're looking for a quick retirement fix. And maybe if you're not realistic about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, any quick fix for the most part is not going to happen unless it just happens by chance for the most. I mean, 99% of the time. It's just really being smart with your time. It's about being consistent with your days. That helps you lead to that ultimate goal of happiness on a daily basis. What is happiness? Just balance. So when you look for a quick fix, you're out of balance. It's because you procrastinated something. Normally when people are looking for a quick fix, they've put something off, they know they should have done, and then all of a sudden the nerves kick in and they're just looking for that. What is that quick fix? What can I do? How do I stay calm in this environment? So it can involve a quick fix, can involve things like, chasing investment returns. Oh my gosh, here's the latest and greatest on Bitcoin. Let me jump on that. And if you look deep into what Bitcoin is really used for, you might have a different opinion. Bitcoin concerns me. Jamie Dimon just recently said, it's mostly funding some horrible stuff from border folks coming up from the border and what we're dealing with right now. A lot of them are funding it through Bitcoin so they can pass it on to the cartel. It's about hiding from taxes. It's about all kinds of things that aren't really pretty. Now, that doesn't mean Bitcoin doesn't have a place, but at the same token, you're looking, hey, Bitcoin's up to 45. They say it's going to go to 60,000 and you shoot for it. Me, I look for bad news on really good companies. I can't give you investment advice, but one to look at just for an example, not to go and invest in, so don't misunderstand me here, is look at Boeing and watch how this recent event will pull down their stock. But Boeing's a good company that's going to come back. They're going to get contracts. And all of a sudden they come roaring back. And it's been going on year after year after year. So really there isn't a quick fix, but if you want to look for something while you're, when you have your game together, look for good companies that get bad news, good companies with bad news. And those are the ones that you'll see some rebound in. But there's really no quick fix. There is no get-rich-quick scheme out there that truly works, Chuck.
I guess not. But I guess if you looked into it long enough, maybe it would blow your doors off. Let's put it that way. All right. Again, you may not be able to retire if you're spending without a plan.
Yeah, how do you run a business without a spending plan? You're really the CEO of your own retirement. Can you imagine if the CEO of your company says, hey, just willy-nilly spend how you want to, this thing, it'll all come together? No, they plan out spending in advance. And spending plan is a whole lot better than saying budget. Budget kind of stings a little bit, but every now and then some people need to say budget because you don't want to willy-nilly spend. Oh, I'll make the money. I'll be okay. And, it's another sign you'll never retire if you're spending your income as soon as it comes in. That's why I preach surplus income in retirement. When do you think you ought to have surplus income before retirement? Before you get to retirement, because surplus income allows you to save for retirement and have the lifestyle that you want. So I see many financial failures. Oh, I got to send my kids to Disney World. Hey, I want you to send your kids to Disney World if that makes you happy. I don't know how it could today, but anyways, bottom line is send them to Disney World, but make sure you're doing it on your money, not a credit card.
All right. You might not be able to retire if paying off debt is not a priority.
Paying off debt has to be a priority the moment you make debt. Now, grant you, if you have a 2.5% mortgage and it's really low, that is really cheap money. I don't know that I would be focused on a mortgage paying that debt off, but car payments, MasterCards, student loans, things of that nature, I would be really focused on paying off debt. Zero those things out, especially credit card debt. Credit cards could go through the roof. I do see some rate cuts this year. They're probably not going to start till the summer. The sources that I use, pretty convinced that it won't start till the summer. I see more of a 3/4. They're going to talk 1.5, but I see more of a 3/4 cut because they're going to have to in order to stimulate the economy, because by that time, all of the layoffs, all of the real estate issues will have caught up, especially in the commercial industry. But I'm going to tell you right now, folks, a lot of you think that prices will go down, and they might on some real estate in different areas. But I'm going to tell you right now, your overall consumer goods and discretionary spending that you have is only going to continue to go up, because they're running this economy where it's going to, I'm telling you, prices will not get cheaper. Trust me on this. So you better pay off that debt before you get smacked in the face with a layoff, with a pink slip, if you will.
Yeah. Well, you might not be able to retire again if you live paycheck to paycheck.
That's kind of tough to retire if you're living paycheck to paycheck, because you can't stop the paycheck. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're probably not saving money. It's pretty much common sense, if you will. So one telltale sign, Chuck, that you'll never retire is if you're living paycheck to paycheck and have no plans to break the cycle. And you just break that cycle 1% a day, folks. Just spend a little bit less. Just figure out how to have breakfast for a couple of bucks in the morning. And that's pretty easy with oatmeal and different things of that nature. Yeah. Hate to be so simplistic, but you got to simplify things to cure things. But breaking the cycle of debt is simple, but not easy. That's the thing. It's not going to be easy. If you want it to be easy, you're going to avoid it, because you know it's not easy. So go ahead and tell yourself, it's not easy. I'm just going to do a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow and a little bit the next day. Finding ways to spend less and bring in more income must become the majority priority each and every day. Did you hear what I just said? Finding ways to spend less and bring in more income must become a major priority each and every day. And I'm not kidding when I say that. If you're looking for ways to save money, try tracking your expenses. That's really important. Know what you spend every month with your partner. If you're married, with your partner, sit down and review all your expenses. We didn't have to spend that. I didn't even know this magazine was still, we're being charged for this subscription or that subscription.
Yeah, that's right.
You got, what is it? Rocket bills or Rocket something other, not Rocket loans, but one of them, it literally scans through all of your expenses and tells you what you can get rid of. So if you can't do it on your own, just examine your expenses. You can take last 12 months of statements that you can pull up electronically at your bank and look at each one and know where that money went and know, hey, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Turn down your heat. Just little things you can do differently. Find ways to enjoy and have entertainment without spending money.
And finally, let's talk about you might not be able to retire, says Jeff Foxworthy, if you're not building a reliable monthly income, which is something you always talk about.
It's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, I mean, and a reliable monthly income where you're going to have Social Security for how reliable that'll be. They say it's going to run out in 35, 34, 20, 35, 34. I don't think it's going to run out, but how much is each dollar going to be worth is more my concern. But what I do know is that you're going to have a gap there. So you better be saving and think in terms of income streams, whether it's, whether you're investing in real estate, whatever it may be. But if it's too late for you to invest in real estate, you better start thinking about other alternatives. There's alternatives to the market. I'm all for dividend stocks, but I like dividend stocks to reinvest back into myself instead of drawing those dividends. So to retire comfortably, you need to build upstream of passive income. And what I mean by that is if you're 55 and you're going to retire at 65, you've got a decade to put away as much money to create an income stream, to buy the right vehicles that can give you that guaranteed income that you've got to die for it to stop sending money. You can't fog a mirror. Okay, it'll quit sending money, but what do you care? You can't fog a mirror anymore. So you really need to look at it. You need to reassess. And right here in 24, folks, that's when we talk about a complementary retirement plan. That's exactly what it is. I just want you on the right track, and I want you to be aware of things that folks are not coming in that I see on a regular basis. We see people coming in all the time to our office that are new, and they're not talking about the potentials of 2024, which tells me whoever is advising them is not telling them, hey, look, we need to take a step back. Things are getting ugly. Complementary retirement plan. It's at you're no cost and no obligation to you whatsoever. You don't have to become a client to take advantage of this plan, and we're going to build it. Our team consists of CFPs and CFAs, and we put together a plan for you that's specifically driven to your needs, to your goals. It's all about you. It's literally a plan built around you, but it's also a plan that over time will need to be tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And you need to think about that. You need a flexible plan. Things just aren't going to always be okay. And I'm telling you, this right here, this year is going to be one of those years you better be concerned about. Chuck, tell them how to get that plan.
All right, that plan is very simple to achieve and to get to put into motion, and that is by calling 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. Because what are your investments costing you? What is your monthly output of bills, as Brian just talked about, for a yearly basis? Are you paying high fees or commissions with some of your investments that you're not considering right now? What are the future tax implications, and how much income can you securely generate from what you're doing with the investments you have in retirement? Well, all of that can be discerned and sorted out and consulted by Brian Gaiser, because it's Wealth Through Management with Brian Gaiser. Once again, he's got people standing by to take your information, so give them a call right now, 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. Well, we've come to that part of the show that I know is one of your favorites.
You know, I love it. I love to talk about clients as well, that in their stories, and I like to hear your stories and your questions and concerns. Folks, next we take your questions, so stay tuned.
Many of us look forward to the day we retire. We look forward to having more time to spend with our families, enjoying every day, and maybe even taking that dream vacation out on the open road. Don't let the fear of uncertainty turn your retirement dream into a retirement nightmare. We can help you see how much risk you're taking, potential red flags that could cause problems for you down the road, such as tax liability, as well as a big one, how much you're paying in fees or commissions with your current plan or advisor. Call for a consultation, 888-285-0829, 888-285-0829. Brian Gaiser of Gaiser Financial will take the time to get to know you, your retirement goals, get to know your unique financial situation, and building an income and protection and proper growth in your retirement plan, utilizing his P4 retirement process. 888-285-0829. Brian Gaiser, 888-285-0829.
Well, Through Wisdom with Brian Gaiser, we'll conclude with our question and answer segment. I'm Chuck Caton with Greensboro's Own, with a man with the heart of a teacher. It's Brian Gaiser. You see him on ABC 45 every Sunday at 6 in Wealth Through Wisdom Television. And remember, that P4 process is very simple. Be proactive, plan, pursue, prosper, and have that retirement process that you can retire with confidence. All set to go to answer some questions now?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Let's go to Welcome, and we'll welcome in Frank from Welcome. So he says, I'm going to retire.
A few clients in Welcome.
Oh, do you?
Welcome.
Okay, good.
It's a nice little spot below Winston.
Ah, wonderful. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know where Welcome was. So it's south of Winston-Salem, down 52?
And just north of Lexington.
Ah, okay. Great barbecue there. I love that. I can't never see now that I bring that up. It's I can't remember the name of the place. We went to one when we went to see Bob Timberlake. I guess he's got his gallery in Lexington.
Right.
My wife loves that. And so there was a place just up the road up 52. And it was a wonderful barbecue place. Maybe Frank.
Probably Lexington barbecue.
Well, Yeah, that's the one. How could I forget? No, that's the one that they said was a tourist trap. We went to a different one. A guy that looked like Santa Claus at Bob Timberlake's lived there, and he told us about this place. But anyway, I digress to Frank, who says he's going to retire at the end of this year. He's got $210,000 in a 401k, $3,000 pension, and Social Security benefits combined. And he wants to know, should he use his 401k to pay off $85,000 in his mortgage that remains, which will cut his living expenses in half, he says. What do you think?
You're going to retire later this year. You're talking about you have $210,000 saved in your 401k, a $3,000 pension payment, plus you're going to have Social Security benefits. Chances are Social Security benefits and the pension relative to this $85,000 mortgage, I would keep the mortgage just because that is so cheap. When you pull that money out of that 401k, Chuck, there's no penalty as long as you're over 59 and a half. But there's no penalty. But what's important to think about, you don't get dollar for dollar. You're going to end up with about 75 cents on the dollar and about 25 cents on the dollar that you have to pay as a premium to get to 85,000. So you're not just going to take out 85,000 to pay off that mortgage. You're probably going to end up taking out 120, 125, maybe even 130,000, depending on your income, to pay off that mortgage. I would slow pay that mortgage, one, because you have definite income from your pension and Social Security, right? Your guaranteed income stream that we're talking about here. You have guaranteed income. And if you're married, that's an additional income. And then come up with a plan that maybe pays that mortgage off over the next 2, 3, 4 years, especially this year in 2024. We're in a funny place right now. I'm telling you, stagflation is knocking at the door. Layoffs are knocking at the door. Prices are going to continue to go up. I would keep my cash flow. I'd be more interested in cash flow because if you can just get 5% off that 210 when you retire, and let's just say that's where it stayed at 210. I mean, that's an extra a little over $10,000 that you could be drawn out on a monthly basis to pay off that mortgage if you chose. I don't recommend paying that off at all. From the data that I have, from the information on you, don't pay it off. Use that as an additional income source to deal with these crazy prices that we're about to see, because you probably have a very low interest rate mortgage.
All right, Sarah's in High Point. She's 64, single, and trying to get rid of some of her debt. She says, I want to take $125,000 out of my IRA to pay off my mortgage, and everybody tells me not to. Do you think it's a bad idea?
Trying to get rid of debt, I get that. She wants, $125,000. Here we go again. It's pretty much the same question as before. And so I'm going to answer it very similar. Chances are it's not your best option, because if that mortgage that you're talking about, and it obviously must be 125 if you want to take out 125. Remember, relative to your income stream, that 125 might cost you 160 to get a net 125. Might cost you 170, might cost you 150. I don't think it's worth that to get rid of that mortgage, to get rid of that debt. I would be more focused on my income streams. I don't really have enough information on you, Sarah, but the point is I would be more focused on my income streams and keeping that low interest debt long before I would be concerned about trying to pay it off. If you have any other high interest debt, maybe get those paid off. If this is your only debt, I'd be more focused on how do I increase my income so I'm more comfortable? How do I get surplus income in my retirement? And if you're not retirement, you're 64, you might not be retired, you might be planning on retiring. I'd probably, depending on your overall financial situation, I would probably try to stretch that out and maybe work a few more years if you're still working.
All right, George is in Greensboro, and he says the whole idea of not working anymore really makes me nervous about our financial future. I've worked for over 50 years, and I cannot imagine stopping. So how can I know that the resources that I have accumulated will meet our needs for the rest of our lives, assuming he's married?
Retirement plan.
Probably doesn't have the kids in the basement, hopefully.
I'm guessing George doesn't have the kids in the basement just by some of the language he's given us here in this, and I think it's one in a good way language. Don't get me wrong, not bad language. And just from what he's saying here, 50 years, can't imagine. George, get a part-time job. Don't dare quit. It could possibly kill you. And literally, just the shock to your body, the shock to your system, trying to deal with that void. Depression can bring on a heart attack, especially at this age. All of a sudden, you hit a brick wall. So if you are going to retire, that's okay. Decompress for a month or two, but go back part-time. I don't care if it's Home Depot or something you really enjoy. Volunteering's okay, but have something that has purpose, whatever you do. You just can't cut loose of your purpose. Maybe your health isn't where you want it, or you're not staying in the type of shape you want. Make sure you have a plan for that. Just make sure you're filling up your time. And also, I think a big thing you're going to miss about work 50 years, you've got friends of 50 years you probably won't see as much anymore, if at all, or hardly ever is a better way to put it. And it's things like that that stress us out. And so if I was you, I would not quit. I would look to do part-time. Maybe you can do part-time with the same company. Maybe you don't you're burned out on the work. You're ready for another chapter. Figure out what that is before you quit. Don't quit until you know what your transition plan is. Our complimentary plan is all about a transition into retirement, not just cold turkey retiring.
All right, Joel in Winston-Salem, final question. He's 62, planning to work for another 4 years before retiring. However, my job is really wearing me down and I'm not happy there anymore. So I'm tempted to just quit and start taking Social Security now that I'm eligible. So then maybe work a low-stress part-time job somewhere. Have you seen people do this successfully? I guess this is perfect because this is what you were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be. The thing that Joel has to think about, do I have health insurance? Does your spouse work and is able to cover you for health insurance? You're going to work another 4 years. Take a breath. I would make sure I have a strong retirement plan, knowing what I'm going to do over the next 6 months, the 6 months after that, the 6 months, keeping those other 6 months flexible. But I would be really focused on the psychological aspect. You've been working there a very long time, it sounds like, and you're about to retire in 4 years. But you've really got to think about health insurance. You got to make sure that I would get a price on that to make sure that's, what do you mean it's $1,500 a month? I don't know what it's going to be, but it might be $1,500 a month depending on what your income stream will look like in retirement. I don't know if you have pensions, but I would know that my income streams more than met my needs. In other words, surplus income in retirement, very, very important part of a good retirement plan. And once you have that structure in, I think something that will, once again, just like George, I think it's going to shock you a little much. So I would at least have a part-time job lined up. Look for a part-time job that may offer health insurance. But if your spouse covers your health insurance, you've got that pink elephant out of the room. It's a good chance you could leave this company, be happy, collect your Social Security, because you can make $22,240. I don't know what your income needs are. But you've got to just weigh it against your income needs, know that you're going to have surplus income in retirement, and then move forward. If you're single, then it's you, and you better figure out if you can live on that type of money throughout retirement or all the way till you turn full retirement age as well.
All right, so I know you've got some thoughts and what you can do for listeners.
It's just a quick thought here, folks, that I'm just going to reiterate something that I've said in the past, and it's just something that just came across over the last month, and I used to kind of live by this, and I'm getting back to this, and it really is true. And if you think about retirement or think about anything you do, there's a major truth out there that Jim Rohn shared with folks years ago. And what he was talking about, it says, we must all suffer one of two pains. We must all suffer one of two pains. The pain, and this is through life, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. And there's nothing more true. If you ever just procrastinated something, you absolutely know you should do. And that's and it's usually that daily life, and daily life with balance. If you've been procrastinating getting your life some balance, and I mean giving your life some balance means you know the things you're going to do. You know you're taking care of your health. You know you're taking care of your retirement. You know you're taking care of your spouse. You know you're taking care of yourself. That's really what it boils down to, but we procrastinate things we know we should do, cleaning out that garage, whatever it may be. Those type of things really hurt and weigh heavy on us. Not getting a proper retirement plan also weighs heavy on us. Wondering, am I doing the right thing? Get that second opinion. Maybe you don't have a retirement plan. Get a retirement plan. It's kind of like the brains of a CPU unit, if you will, in a computer, right? Or it's like software. They write software under X's and O's, if then. A retirement plan is no different. Can you imagine not having a plan and try to build yourself a 2-story house, just winging it? It just doesn't make sense, folks. You got to step up to the plate. Complimentary plan, a complimentary plan at no cost, no obligation to you. Chuck, tell them how.
All right, it's very simple. Give Mr. Gaiser a call at his office. He's got people standing by to take your phone call. 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641, because it starts with a core plan. It leads to a comprehensive plan, but you need a plan in general. So give Brian's office a call so that you can retire with confidence. It's all about wealth through wisdom. With Brian Gaiser, and that's why we want to give you the opportunity to review your individual retirement plan. And if you don't have one, get one. If you need a second opinion, as Brian said, get one from him. Once again, it's 888-959-1641. That's 888-959-1641. Well, it's been a great show. Your final thoughts, Mr. Gaiser, on a day where the weather is kind of cooling off. I guess these last 2 weeks of January are the coldest in our area, but I know you've got some warm thoughts.
Yeah, I do have some warm thoughts. Folks, it's all about wealth through wisdom, and wisdom's all about making the complicated simple. That's what we do at Gaiser Financial Group. Give us a call. Appreciate you. Back at you next week.
Brian Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Brian Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and education services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal issues may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions relative to these issues. This radio show is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company.